gonna look at me like that?
Because you always do the intro.
Welcome. I am Jonnita Stanton. We have Reginald Perryman, Kashka Williams,
In the house.
and we are TSARE. This is the There's Something About Real Estate podcast where we talk all things real estate. So let's get into it. Land contracts.
Yeah.
First show of the year.
Yeah.
First show of the new year.
First recorded show of the year.
Yes. True,
Everything
true.
else is still playing.
Right.
True.
Yep. How was y'all New Year?
I've been in quarantine.
I was,
COVID ruined my life for the new year.
Oh, okay.
Thank God I've not tested positive for COVID. However, it's other people around me, so I had to sit my ass still and sit in the house and not go nowhere.
Yep.
And I FaceTime my cousin. Her birthday falls on it's my baby too. Her birthday falls on New Year's Eve. I couldn't go hang out with them, and so yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm on punishment.
I wasn't hanging out nowhere. I stayed at home.
Yeah.
The five of us did nothing. We had our champagne and sparkling wine, or what is that? Sparkling, whatever it is.
Oh, okay.
The kid version.
Sparkling juice.
The champagne.
Kitty table version.
Yeah. What about you?
We chilled at home. My wife made like some seafood stuff.
Oh,
like
yeah, you
shrimp
was
and
saying
some
that.
other
Yeah,
stuff.
okay.
Yeah, and some champagne. She hooked it up.
For sure.
That sounds good. Did we do yoga right after?
I think y'all
Yeah,
did
we brought the New Year in doing yoga.
Yeah, trap yoga.
Trap Yoga. Shout out to Jamel Randall over at Trap Yoga.
When she say we, it wasn't me. It was her and my wife. I ain't doing no
Reggie in there doing trap yoga.
What's wrong with it's a lot of men in class.
Listen to the Migos. Bad and bougie.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyway, yeah, the new year has been crazy. I really just don't even feel like it's a whole new year right now. It feels like it's still 2021, but I'll get there.
I feel like I'm in 22.
I still feel like 2020 to me.
Do it? I feel like I'm in 2022. It is the same though. It is like it's crashed in together, but I don't know. Maybe because I left and I came back, I felt like it was New Year before the New Year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe that I was hanging before Christmas. Okay, I think we digressed.
Yeah.
So, let's see. What are we talking? What is a land contract, Mr. Perryman?
Oh, land contract. So here's like a lot of people don't understand what a land contract is. It's like this urban myth understanding of a land contract, and then it's the real understanding of what it actually is. So like basically a land contract is just basically another way to finance a property. Instead of paying a bank or a mortgage company, you're paying the seller.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think, oh, I'm in a land contract and the owner. No, you the owner. If you brought the house on land contract, you're the owner.
Correct.
So a lot of people get that confused.
They don't understand seller financing as opposed to the bank financing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's really two types of seller financing. It's land contract, where the land contract is recorded, but the deed's supposed to be held in escrow, right? Usually by a title company. So when you pay off the land contract, they don't have to hunt anybody down or get the actual deed. But you can do seller financing, where the seller is giving you a mortgage. You're paying the seller. It's a seller's mortgage, basically, purchase money mortgage. And you actually get a buyer the deed to the property, and they just pay you, and you have a note and everything, just like a mortgage company.
Just like a mortgage, right?
Do you record a land contract?
Of course.
Who records it?
The title company or the buyer or the seller.
Okay, so anybody
Just like
can
you
go
would record
it.
a deed. Yeah. A lot of people. That's where a lot of people got messed up at, because they didn't record their land contracts. And back in the day, a lot of people got burned because they was like, oh, I brought this house on land contract, and the guy sold it from up under me because nobody could verify who the owner was, because you never recorded anything.
What are the parts that contribute to a land contract?
Oh, I want to say something too. So I'm sorry, but to what he was saying, that's why you got to use a title company.
Yep.
I just had to say that. I'm talking about when you're doing a land contract, stop trying to do the land contract on your own when you don't know enough to be able to do a land contract.
Right.
You're not going to use an attorney or a title. At least use a title company, so you make sure that your interest is protected.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Those notes to the buyer or to the seller?
To both really.
Yeah.
Because
all
listen,
involved.
like this is why sellers need to follow it the right way, because let's say, so people buy properties from like the land bank or the tax sale or whatever, and if you have like a bunch of other properties that are delinquent on taxes, they may not allow you to bid on other properties or government-owned properties. So if you sold properties on land contract and somebody didn't pay their taxes and you didn't record the documents, it's going to look like you have a bunch of unpaid taxes on these properties. But if you can show them, hey, I sold these on land contract, and your contract states in there who's responsible for the taxes, and the land contract or the memorandum is recorded, then it's nothing for you to worry about.
Do you guys have whole land contracts with people?
Oh, yeah. I do.
Did y'all use title companies?
Yep.
I didn't.
A couple of mine I didn't. She said that like you had an issue. Like,
Nah, yeah,
I don't have an issue.
I'm just messing with
right. But no, I mean, she's right, though. So, I mean, the good thing about this show is you get to learn from a lot of our mistakes, right?
Right.
And I've been doing it a long time, so I have a lot of mistakes made, right? So that's why I'm adamant about the title company. Now I won't do anything. I do a simple quitclaim deed that
Right.
well, it was supposed to be simple, right? I'm still using the title company.
Man, I'm finding out that me doing my own quitclaim deeds right now is just to look here. I'm doing myself. So I don't object to the title company, but I want to get back into what are the parts of a land contract?
I mean, it's simple. It's the same financing. It's your down payment, right? And typically you have tax prorations and stuff like that, but it's the down payment, the monthly payment, the interest rate, and then there's language regarding who's paying the taxes and insurance. And you usually have like some type of default clause in there as well, just like with any mortgage.
It should be just like a mortgage if it's done correctly.
Right.
But what's a memorandum of land contract?
So that's just a one-page document because everybody don't want the general public to know all the terms of their land contract. Just maybe like the purchase price and the fact that there is an existing land contract. So you can record the one-page memorandum.
Right.
Instead of, you may have 8 pages to your land contract, you may have 15. It just depends on what's all included.
That's advanced land contracting.
Yeah. So like today we're going to cover it from the buyer side, the seller side, and the investor side. Because I think a lot of investors miss out. To me, like for an investor, the land contract is the in-between flipping and owning rental property.
Yeah.
I agree.
And investing, buying using the land contract. That's a hell of a strategy most people don't use.
It is.
We should talk more about that right there. I think that is an awesome strategy if you can talk the seller into holding on to that property while you pay them off.
Yeah.
That's basically what you just said, right?
Yep. Because a lot of people, like a lot of investors, will say, it's a lot of classes out there on doing a lease option with the seller, which is cool. The disadvantage to doing that is because, like, let's say in Detroit or some cities where you have landlord-tenant requirements, you do a lease option, you fall under those landlord-tenant requirements and guidelines. So if I'm an investor, I'm buying from you, you're the seller, but I'm doing a lease option, and let's say the house is tenant occupied already. Now one of us still got to make sure we comply with all the local requirements for that property. But if I do a land contract, this is a sale, it's not a rental property, right? If it's tenants in there, then of course I'm the new owner, I have to comply. But if it's vacant and I'm buying it to maybe fix and flip it, then I can just do a land contract. Then the seller, you don't have to, you're not required to do any rental registrations.
So you're referring, that's what I was going to say, you're referring to the tax consequences as well as some of the consequences of being a landlord, right? Like registering the property as a rental with the city or the township or whoever, right? But it's also that tax benefit as well, recording that land contract if you're selling it to the homeowner.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because now you get a homestead as opposed to non-owner taxes.
Right. Right.
Which are a lot higher.
Yeah. So like any properties I sold on land contract to owner occupants, they get to claim the homestead exemption. So their property taxes are lower versus me holding the property and renting it to them. And now I'm paying a higher tax rate because it's non-homestead.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, but let's say something. Let's talk about
And it's capital gain benefits too.
There it is. So other that would be advanced. Advanced level. That'd be talking to the investors.
Yeah.
So the difference again between the lease option, as opposed to the land contract.
Right. So the lease is just simply that. It's a lease. You have an option to buy the property. So let's say your lease is 1 year. Usually you'll have a defined price. So you'll determine the price up front. If you're smart as the buyer, you'll determine the price up front, right? But you still fall under that landlord tenant. So if you miss a payment, it's an eviction. You have to file for eviction. You have to go through that process. For the seller, it's easier because you're only doing an eviction. You're not doing any forfeiture or foreclosure. So for the seller, it's easier, but the seller keeps control of everything. But the seller is still responsible according to, and this has nothing to do with your lease agreement because you can negotiate who's going to do the repairs in a lease with option. But you still have to comply with the city requirements if you're in a city that has strict rental registration laws.
Southfield and Taylor.
Yeah, but
Detroit is getting there too. Yeah, I mean they're catching up.
Like who's going to do the lead abatement? Who's going to make sure you have your lead cert? So if I do a lease option with you, and we put in there, okay, it's a lead certification has to be obtained and approval. Who's going to take care of that? And I'm just a tenant. We may have it in writing, but if they come out and inspect the property, they're going to hold the seller liable unless the seller can prove something different.
Right. I mean, because you're the owner still.
Yep.
Right.
But if you got multiple properties or you're trying to do other projects, maybe like a government contract or some type of, you're doing a Mr. development or something like that, and you tied up in court over this property because it got lead issues, that may impact some of the other stuff that you're doing.
So one of the biggest advantages of another large advantage of the land contract is you're basically saying your right of redemption, your redemption rights, basically. Right. Meaning that you don't have to, if you're behind on your payment, you don't go to court and get evicted in 30 to 45 days. Right. They have to go through a foreclosure process. Right. To get you out, which could take up to 180 days or more, actually.
And most land contracts is when you late 45 days on your first payment before they can take action. So now we're talking, we're talking 225 days. Right. Before they just like when you would a mortgage.
Because before you actually get put out, it's still probably going to be almost 365 days.
Depending on the courts. Yeah. Right. Yep. And then if you more than some not, everywhere is different, but in most cases, if you more than 50% paid into the land contract, it can take even longer sometimes.
This is funny because one of the things that we talked about before on a different show was the renting versus the buying. Right. And a lot of people were saying, shoot, I wouldn't want to, now that I own a house, I wouldn't want to be an owner anymore. Right. Because I think that they potentially still haven't realized like their equity. And so it's the same scenario here. If you have a person who's selling on the land contract, you probably still have a lot of equity benefits. So even though you're not the owner, you're not really renting, you're going to be doing like the repairs and things like that come with the property. It's still supposed to be like, hopefully a future equity benefit there.
So let's talk about the benefits for a buyer on a land contract. So first and foremost is, let's say I'm buying a house from you, right? I may have tried a mortgage company. I may be self-employed because we got a lot more entrepreneurs out here now, and I may not qualify for the traditional mortgage, and I may not want to do like a non-conforming subprime loan. I can come to you and negotiate the terms up front. So I can say, hey, I want to do a 15-year land contract. I want to do a 5-year. or I want to do a 5-year with a balloon because I can afford it. You get to decide if I qualify or not. So you can say, hey, look, based on your income and your financials, instead of putting 10% down, put 20% down because you want to minimize your risk. So for a buyer, it's not necessarily qualifying to any bank guidelines or Fannie or Freddie. It's between you and the seller what y'all negotiate.
Fannie and Freddie, I always hear you talking about those people. It's a little confusing.
Right.
Who's Fannie and Freddie?
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Okay. So, basically, I think what in layman's just saying, it's probably a little bit less red tape if you maybe don't have the best credit or the best track record financially. Maybe you have money and you have the ability to pay, but you don't have the best. You're not able to show it as well as some other people.
Well, like those people that say, well, I bring in $7,000 a month, but they're not including. They're not taking into account what they pay in or what they owe in student loans.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And with a land contract.
You don't care. The car loans, all those different things. Right. So that's the biggest benefit is that you can negotiate. You can actually sit there. It's like borrowing from the bank a long time ago.
Right.
When you used to go to the bank and they'd be like, oh, I know you from, around the corner or whatever.
Yep.
Everybody knows everybody.
Game.
Right. You know what I mean? So you can talk to that person and get them to lend to you. You know what I mean? Or hold that financing for you.
And the other thing with a land contract, you can truly negotiate your monthly payment. So you buying a $200,000 house, right? And you go to a lender, they may say your payment's $1,200 a month or whatever. You can go on a land contract and say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. L, I'm putting this amount down. I'm going to pay $800 a month, but in 10 years, I may still have a balloon payment. Or I'll pay $800 a month and let's spread it out to 20 years, well, to pay off or whatever they calculate to, and you can negotiate your interest rate. So it's strictly up to buyer and seller. So a lot of our so it would have been our great grandparents and some of our grandparents, right? Or a lot of people that came to America and got jobs or started businesses that couldn't get bank loans. That's how a lot of people purchased homes back then. But a lot of people got taken advantage of because they didn't have the laws that they have now. So that's why a lot of land contracts, because you had some groups of people that were predatory, going after African Americans and immigrants and saying, hey, we'll sell you this property and jacking the interest rate way sky high.
That still happens, by the way.
Yeah. Well, in Michigan, the highest you can charge is 11%.
Legally.
Right. But what buyer would want to negotiate 11%? Now, you may have some. I got one now that's 8% because it's a smaller house. It's $30,000. They put a certain amount down, and they're going to pay it off with just paying their payments. They're going to pay it off in 2 years.
Hold on, that's your house? You the lender?
Yeah, all the time. But
I was just saying.
they're paying it off in 2 years, so they don't. The interest rate, they're not paying that much in interest, right?
But then some people, so a lot of times I have to explain to people, okay, you can't walk into a bank and get this loan.
Right.
And now you want someone that's also in business, just like you,
Right.
that's trying to, make a living, but, you're in property. And so they can't just give you the house. They have to make money from it. And you're high risk. And typically with high risk comes higher interest rates.
Yes.
Right.
So
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, too, so the one thing buyers need to be aware of is never let somebody talk you into buying a land contract with the intention that you're going to be able to refinance in 1 year. Because some people will set you up, and it'll be like, oh, you can just buy it on land contract. You can refinance in 1 year. There's absolutely no guarantee you will be able to do that. Because your credit may be, let's say the minimum credit score for a certain type of loan is 620, right? You may be at 600. So the person may be thinking, well, within a year, you should be able to get this. but there's no guarantee that your income to debt ratio is going to work. Your interest rates could go up. So it's no guarantee you're going to qualify. So always negotiate the land contract based on you actually being able to buy and pay that property off. And you being able to refinance is just kind of like another exit strategy.
Yeah, I mean, anytime I help people with the land contract, I definitely stress make sure you understand that you can refinance.
Right.
You look into refinancing like right away because just like you said, it may take you 36 months before you can get to the point to be able to refinance.
Right.
But it's better to know that now so that you can, start doing all of the things that you need to do to get things aligned, because you have to have certain finances. Your bank has to look a certain way. You have to, all these things have to be in place in order for you to get a traditional loan. That's if that's what you want to do.
Right.
So I think we have to maybe be careful about, there's a gray there. So if someone tells you to look into refinance options,
Right.
that's still good information. But I think what you're saying is, you need to have time.
Right.
There needs to be time to be able to do that.
Several exit strategies.
Exactly.
Basically.
And talking about like exit strategy, a lot of people, it's funny because a lot of people that even brought land contracts, they still look at it as a rental. I'm renting this property, or if you can't pay for it, just sell the house. It's yours.
Yeah.
So let's say you bought a house for $90,000, you put $20,000 down, you owe $70,000. A few years later, you owe $60,000, and you can't afford it anymore. Just sell the house. As long as you sell it for more than enough to pay off the balance, you good. Just
That's
like
a
you
gem
would.
right there, because
But
people
so
don't
many
understand that. They don't.
Man, so many people like, yeah, I had a land contract. I just let the landlord have it.
Right.
Like,
Right.
no, it wasn't the landlord. You the owner. You know
It's
what
the
I'm saying?
same way as the bank. So if you're behind in people do it right now. They're
Yeah.
behind with the bank, and instead of selling the house and getting something out of it,
Yep.
they're gonna let the bank take it, and you get nothing.
Exactly.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? It's just lack of. I think it's just lack of knowledge.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And not lack of understanding. But I think everything that we just said, where we were just, even though we were telling the buyers to beware of, those are benefits to the seller.
Yeah.
So, these are all the reasons why the seller would want to do a land contract.
Higher
Yeah.
interest rate, more money down faster, being
Right.
able to still earn that monthly residual income. So those are all pros
Yep.
for the owner. So, and pros for the buyer is, you can be a higher risk, quote unquote, individual and still own property.
And so the benefits to the seller. So first of all, most people now can't sell on land contract because they have a mortgage, and most mortgages have a due on sale clause.
Explain that.
But all right. So usually it's clause 17, right? That means if the property transfers ownership, that the entire mortgage balance is due. So
Or could be called.
it could be.
Yeah.
If the
But
lender
the bank
found out
has
about
that
it, yeah.
option.
Yeah, they
right?
have the option.
But so if I'm buying a house from Jaja, right, and she has a mortgage balance of $50,000, but I'm buying a house for $200,000, I might put $50,000 or $60,000 down, and she can pay the mortgage off, and then I just owe her the balance. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if I'm buying it from Jaja for $200,000 and I'm putting $20,000 down, so I owe her $180,000, but she still owes, $180,000, right? The minute we record that land contract, the bank may get a notice and tell Jaja, you need to pay off this loan,
Right now.
right? And I'm tied up, so I'm at risk now because I can't do anything because the bank's mortgage was recorded first, right? But some lenders and some land contracts, some lenders will say, we will let this happen, but we need to qualify the buyer,
Yeah.
right? And as long as they're getting their monthly payment on time, they don't have anything to do. They're fine. So if Jaja monthly payment is $800, but I'm paying $1,100, she has to pay that mortgage, and then she gets to keep the $300 difference, right? But then I have to feel comfortable enough that she's making her mortgage payments on time. That's why, as the buyer, I would want some communication with the bank, because the minute she don't pay, I want the right to be able to pay the bank directly. Or I would try to negotiate that up front. Hey, I'm going to pay this lender directly, and then I'm going to make a separate check for the difference to you.
Right.
Right.
So that right there is where you got to be careful, right?
Yeah.
So
and that's why you need a title company.
That's right.
It's not really. That's not even a land. That's not a true land contract though. When that's happening,
It is. It's just that. Well, it would be more like it's not
an
assignment.
It's more of an assignment.
It's more of an assignment because you're going through the bank and they're assigning a loan to the other party. But a true assignment. So you have a simple assumption, a formal assumption. A formal assumption is Jaja has the mortgage. They approve me. They remove Jaja from the mortgage altogether. So I'm just assuming her loan. I'm coming in as the new owner, and I may have paid Jaja $20,000 to have that mortgage assigned to me on the buyer side. Now, a simple assumption would just be, hey, the bank is aware of this, but I'm assuming the loan, but the bank didn't necessarily have to qualify me for the loan. But usually with a simple assumption, they wouldn't let Jaja off the hook.
Yeah.
Right, they would just be adding me to the mortgage at that point in time.
Because now they got more.
They got more people.
More people to be responsible.
You know what I mean? It's not a good idea.
And nobody wants to mess their credit up.
But what I was getting to is saying that a lot of people, so they use that, a lot of sellers use that situation there and as a means or as a reason to not record that land contract.
Exactly.
You know
That's
what I mean?
why we say go through
That's why you got to be careful. You know what I mean? As the buyer, you know what I mean? You got to really be careful because you might lose your interest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've been paying on this house for 5 to 7 years, and the person, the seller to you, but the actual owner still, because you didn't record the land contract, loses the house for not paying.
Yep. So the biggest red flags for a buyer on a land contract is seller expects you to refinance within a year, maybe 2 years. Right? That's just almost setting you up for failure.
Yeah.
And then 2, the biggest red flag is they don't want to record the land contract. If you hear those words or that's in a conversation before you even pull title work, those are just red flags. Don't do it.
Or the biggest one, when you can clear all this up. And when they say, we don't need a title company.
Yeah, exactly, because they don't want to record nothing.
We don't need we don't need a title company. We can do this all ourselves. They just going to charge us for no reason.
Yeah, exactly. That's the biggest one. We could do this ourselves. They're going to charge us. The biggest reason you want a title company for a land contract is you want somebody that's licensed and insured to hold that deed in escrow. Because if Jaja bought my house and God forbids I'm out of here in 5 years before you pay it off, now you got to come fight my estate. And you calling Jeter like, what's going on? I paid this house off and they won't give me the property, right? So you might have to do quiet title, or you can just simply take it to court and show your documents and proof you paid. But if that deed is in escrow, at that point, you just have to show proof that you paid, right? And the deed is already signed. All the title company has to do at that point is record it. So the people that brought land contracts from me that paid off, I just send a notarized letter to the title company saying, hey, this property is paid off. Please record the deed and send a copy to the buyer.
A discharge, just like a bank does.
Exactly. Right. Yep. So that's the proper way for a buyer to go about doing a land contract.
Yeah. A true land contract.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think with a buyer, so let's talk about this. With a buyer, if you don't know anything, if you're not well versed on land contracts,
right?
First thing you should do is what?
Get a realtor that has experience with land contracts.
He wants you to hire a title company.
No, you just let me know before you. I mean, that realtor that he's talking about, or that we talk about the good professional real estate individual, whoever it is. They should tell you, all right, first thing we're gonna do is go to this title company. That's what they should say. But you still need them to help you navigate through everything.
Yeah, because a lot of people be like, yeah, my cousin going to sell me their house. I'm already living here, or my landlord going to sell it to me on land contract. and they just gonna draft the paperwork. But again, red flags, if they don't want to record it, or if they're trying to get you to do a balloon payment in a short period of time that you know you're not going to be able to pay it off, then those are the red flags.
Even if you think, one more thing. So even if you think, let's say you at that 620, or you like at the 618 or 615, and you right now it's 620, right?
Right.
Things change in the mortgage industry also.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So right now, the minimum requirements might be 620.
Right.
At one point, I mean, some people do say they still do 580s, right?
Yeah, but that was a real minimum at a time.
Yeah, but now 620 is a real minimum.
That was also before the automatic underwriting
stuff.
Yeah.
You can still do 580, but it's just gonna be like pulling teeth.
Yeah.
And everything else other than your credit, your employment history, your savings, you can't get a lot of the down payment assistance program. Everything else has to be A1.
Yeah.
Putting a lot down, not that 3% or 3.5%.
Yeah,
You need to be putting that
20%.
15, 20% down. Yeah.
So I was gonna say, so on the seller side, for the seller, the benefit is, so you have a lot of sellers, they've been in these homes, they paid off, and they're gonna, let's say you have a seller that was just going to sell the property and they already got another home. So this was just gonna be cash they was gonna put in the bank, right? Or put in the market or something. Well, here you are, you got an asset that you can get, a large enough down payment to eliminate some of your risks, but then you can charge interest. So let's say you sell your $200,000 home for $200,000, and there's no required appraisal, right? There's no FHA guidelines to meet. You can negotiate the price with the buyer. Maybe the buyer wants to order appraisal. That's up to y'all. You can negotiate the condition. So I could take my house on San Juan that's $215 and sell it for $215 as is if the buyer chooses to do that, right? But if I sell that same house for $215 FHA, I have to meet FHA guidelines. So that's the difference. But if I said I want 20% down, $40,000 or whatever, and I sell it, instead of the bank making that interest, I make that interest on it over a certain period of years. That, if you ever looked at an amortization chart when you got a home on a mortgage, and you see you paid $180 for the house, but you're paying back $360, I want to be the bank. That's why I do land contracts.
That's where the wealth is, right?
Exactly. Yep. So that's the benefit to the seller.
So I have a monkey wrench.
All right.
But let me get it back. Okay. So you want to sell a house, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to put it. So let's say the house on San Juan, $215. You've been having a terrible time getting rid of it. I guess knock on wood. And
no, it's pending now. We closing.
It's pending.
In a week.
Okay, well, wonderful. So let's say you've been having a terrible time getting rid of it, and you can only get people to offer you like $190.
Yep.
But you got this one buyer who's like, I'll give you the $215, but I can only get finance for the $190. Will you hold a second?
Yeah, you can do that if the lender allows it. Not too many lenders allow that anymore, especially FHA. They want you to sign something saying you're not doing any side transactions. But some lenders will allow you to do a first and second. So you carry the additional $25,000 as a second with interest, and it's recorded. The only disadvantage to that is that if they default on the first loan, you're out because you don't have primary position in that loan. But yeah, they'll be paying the lender, they'll be paying you.
But sometimes the seller up against the wall will settle for the $190. Right?
Yeah.
Because you got to get rid of it. And in some of our situations, we definitely want to get rid, a certain amount of time has passed, forget it, let's just take the $190. But this other person over here, they can pass the $190 and they saying they'll give us the additional $25,000. I'm going to tell you, let's give it a try.
Yeah, but here's the thing too. Let's just say, let's take mortgage financing out of it. If I list that house land contract, I opened up a whole new pool of buyers.
Period.
That wasn't there before. So for every if any realtor that's been in the business that ever answered the phone, you're going to get rental costs, you're going to get land contract
Absolutely.
costs. The amount of rental costs and land contract costs you get compared to people that just straight up say, hey, I'm looking to buy a house and I actually qualify on the first call, it's like 10 to 1.
I agree.
Right. It depends on the area, right? Certain price points, people know they can't.
Well, I think it would still
rent.
be. I just think people think that, they're scared. They don't feel like they can in that area, even though you still can. But,
we do them all price points, land contracts.
Or how about the people that see the houses? Well, I guess that's what you're saying. The people see that there are no land contract terms offered, but they still want you to go after that property. Can you just, present a land contract offer?
I got a buyer right now. They all they want. He makes a lot of money. He has a lot of money, but he his finances are not traditional. Yeah. Right. So they're legal, but it's not traditional.
Right.
And so he's always like, hey, yeah, can we offer a land contract? I give them $200,000 down. They don't want $200,000 down on a $500,000 house. Right. They about to get their $500,000 right now.
Yeah, but you have sellers that are in that position where like they wasn't gonna do anything else with the money. So think about this: you have sellers that paid $300,000 for their house 8 years ago. Now the house worth $475,000, right? And they owe $250,000. You come with $250,000 down, and they were already getting ready to downsize into like some cheap condo, right? All they were going to do with the extra money was put it into some mutual fund or something.
Make less money.
You come with $250,000 down, and you're like, hey, I'm going to pay you $3,000 a month plus interest. They going to beat the market all day with that.
But the likelihood of that happening, so I hear you, you're right.
It does. It happens.
Money-wise, it's an intelligent thing, right? If you're the seller and you're in that situation. But a lot of sellers look at it like, all right, $250,000 now, and then have to deal with payments. Now I am the bank, so it's not all good being the bank. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. When you get to people having to foreclose. You know what I'm saying?
But here's the thing, though.
Also dealing with the market potentially changing.
Here's the thing. You looking? Remember, I said they originally paid $300 for it. Now it's worth $475, but they paid $250 for it. They got $250 up front. Where's the risk? They paid $300. They got $250. There's only a $50,000 difference. If they took that house back, they get the whole $475,000. So even if the value goes down to $400 or $375, they still got the asset. They're still coming out ahead, and they get to resell it again.
Here's the risk. So we've seen this a lot of times where the buyer gets mad because they're getting foreclosed on because they didn't pay their payment.
But all right, I'm glad we have this part because I'm about to tell you from experience.
So then they go in there and they strip the house of everything in there,
or burn it down.
Or
I just heard that story,
or whatever they do, right? If they burn it down, you should have your insurance.
That's what I said. Right? That's what I told the person.
But I'm talking about the individuals that go in there and or they, even if you have your insurance, depending on what it is what damage that they create, your insurance is paying for it anyway. So there is risk. Right. You get what I'm saying? So if I'm in that situation, and I'm an individual that understands money, so I hear what you're saying. But me personally, if I was, you would have to give me a big amount over what I would get over that 500, because if I can get my 500 now. As opposed to your 250 plus your payments, because think about this. If you do the 250 on a land contract, you're doing seller financing. You're normally going to want your money back within the next 5 to 7 years, right? I'm not holding up 30-year mortgage. I'm not the bank. I'm not rich. You're the bank has everybody else's money, right? So I want my money back within 5 to 7 years. 7 years is that's a long time.
No,
right?
you thinking wrong.
No,
okay.
We talking about the majority of people.
I'm about to put some real. Now keep talking. I'm about to put some real numbers to this.
So listen, we talking about
WWE in here. here.
No, he put. He
No, I'm
looking
about
up-
to put
he
some
looking up-
real-
He putting the
Go
real
ahead.
numbers
Get the
in
data.
here.
Get Miguel
all
here.
right.
Pull up the screen.
We're gonna
Just
do it the
kidding.
same. What we using? What numbers
All
we
right,
using?
we gonna use $500,000 sales price, $250 down, right?
Okay.
And I'm gonna put in
I'm not putting
what
my
you say,
calculator out.
7
Tired.
years.
What we gonna use on?
No,
interest?
let's use
5.
Let's
Hell no.
use
Nobody-
5
they
years,
not-
right?
Let's go 5%.
No, on the land
Nah.
contract, you got to be higher, at least 7.5.
Okay.
All right, I'm not even
agree.
getting into what y'all talking about. So 500,000, 250,000 down, right? I put in a 6% interest rate, right?
6. Okay.
All right, so and you're gonna make 39,000 in interest. This is what a monthly payment of 48.33, right?
Hold on. Let me see. 48.30, right? Mhm.
Right. So, all right. So you got 250,000 of your money up front.
Correct.
The other 250 gonna make you 39,000, right? And that's at 48.33 a month. So where am I going wrong with that?
So
Where's my real risk?
So you said my $250,000
Right.
is gonna make me $39,000 in 5 years.
right. Well,
I'm gonna make way more money.
Well,
off my
no,
250
you
than
got
that.
your 250. You got 250. They're paying you back.
But my
Plus
other
the-
250 that I
Right.
would have got if I would have sold it off the rip.
Right.
So that's
But we
250
talking
that I left on the table.
Right. We talking about somebody that was gonna put their money in the market somewhere,
No,
and
but
it's at
We
6%.
talking about because this person right there has to be.
No,
savvy.
you're not just making. You're not. That's the 39.92 on top of the 250.
correct.
So your total amount back is 289. That's in 5 years.
So 40,000.
But
So you
I'm
made
about-
40,000. So that's $8,000 a year
Right.
that you made off your $250,000.
Right.
So the
At
question that Reggie is
6%.
saying is that's better than what they would do putting it in an IRA.
Yeah, I agree. So, but I'm talking about this individual that's going to be doing this is got to be savvy. This is not going to be your regular individual that probably would put it in the IRA. I don't see that person doing it.
But
in the
wait,
that's how he
but
started
wait.
the-
Here's what I'm saying though.
We're talking about the
You
risk.
said part of what you said was you wouldn't do more than 5 years. Is that
Correct.
what he said?
That's correct.
So-
5 to 7. I said 7
All
is
right.
high as hell. But so 5
if
for
I
real.
if I add an extra year, they payment go down to 4,100, but now I'm making 48,000.
50. I don't care
in
what you
interest.
use. You can use any of those numbers.
But
right?
what I'm saying is, this is what I'm saying. Typically, this is all about mindset with me. This is why, I prefer selling land contracts over doing rental properties. When people was tearing their houses up because they was foreclosing, people was getting in their houses zero down. Sometimes getting money back at closing. That's a whole different mentality. I'm giving you something for nothing. You coming into it with the wrong mentality, right? Or people putting
Thinking
people
right.
putting
Yeah. You didn't earn it.
6,000
Right.
6,000 down on a $200,000 house. Now you telling me it's worth 130. I'm taking everything with me and selling it on the street, right? But people that's buying this is why
Kind of money up.
this is why when the economy was crashing, you didn't see news reports of car repossessions going through the roof. Because when you buy a car, you buy a $20,000 car, you put $2,000 or $3,000 down. You only got 5 years to go. You got 3 years left, right? People wasn't walking away from their cars. You had some people that was doing
yeah, a lot of
insurance
people
jobs.
was- yeah.
But what I'm saying is, when somebody's putting $250,000 down, first you're dealing with a different type of person with a different
Both
mentality.
ways. Correct.
And in most cases, I'm not gonna say all because some of them crazy too, but they have enough savvy. They understand that before I lose this asset, it's worth $475, $500. I'm gonna sell it and pay this off. Because I don't want to lose. Because they don't get the $250 back.
Don't say nothing. It's my
Right.
turn after this.
But wait, they don't get the $250 back. Let's say you take the house back and it's only worth $400,000, right? You got the $250 in your pocket and you still got a house that's worth $400,000. That's $650.
Got you.
Where'd you go wrong?
Got you. So that's one scenario.
Right.
I'm gonna give you a lot of scenarios where where that does. So you gave me
Right.
one. I'm gonna give you 3 off of those. Right. So the first one I'm gonna give you. So you on both sides.
Right.
So it's not just the buyer has to be savvy to do that. The seller has to be savvy to do that as well.
Yep.
Like regular sellers aren't doing that.
Right.
So I could take myself for example. So let's talk. Let's say me and you.
Right.
Actually, I'm gonna ask you first, and then I'm gonna tell you about me. So $100,000 right now.
Right.
And we see this all the time. This is like a thing that they ask, right?
Yeah.
You know, $500,000 right now, or $250 right now.
Right.
Plus 280. We said
so you
win the lottery.
You comparing it. If I have my whole 500, I'll outperform this me personally.
Period.
Right?
That's all I'm saying.
But I'm not talking about. We talking about people that really. Man, I'm telling you, I got people that once and we deal with this a lot in probate. You will sell the house, they don't know what to do with the money.
I got you.
Right?
So, I got you.
So,
but you can't, hold on, but see, this is what you can't do. So you can't say that in this transaction that we talking about mindset.
Yep.
You can't say only one person mindset is different. Both parties in this situation mindset is different.
That's true.
Right? So again, the individual that's doing this is going to be me or you. Right, it's going to be us. It's going to be an individual.
Not necessarily because of
hold on. It's not going to be just. It's not going to be. You're not. No way in the world are you getting grandma.
Right.
Who you said bought this house for $200,000.
Right.
10 years ago or 20 years ago, and now she about to sell it for $500. Ain't no way in the world you about to tell grandma.
She might, because she probably
you're
brought
not
it on
telling
contract.
grandma. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna get our $200,000 back right now. The rest of it, they're gonna pay us in payments. And and then you're gonna show her that you're making 8% on your money. Nah,
wait, hold up.
Hold on.
But grandma
is tax free.
But wait, hold up. Grandma would do a reverse mortgage. Why wouldn't she do this?
Yeah,
because she getting money. Listen. When you I'm from an age perspective, some people would be like, no, I need all my money now. I have these costs. I'm moving to Arizona, whatever, right? I don't want to deal with the responsibility. I don't want to
That's
bill.
actually against the reverse mortgage laws.
But what I'm saying is, if someone just needs cash flow and they don't need all their cash right now, they're going to consider that.
Got you.
That's all I'm saying.
Right, that was the whole point. I guess that's what I'm trying to get back to, because that was the whole point. When you said what you said, he said, because then you brought up the buyer. So now we're thinking about, okay, on the MLS, these houses and all these people asking certain questions. A realtor, a listing agent could present to their seller, you know what? This might not be bad for you. What do you plan on doing with the?
I want to tell y'all this: if a realtor presents that to you, they are not qualified to present that to you.
They're not.
They're not. They're not a finance manager. They're not a money manager.
Right. They're not a money manager.
They're not qualified.
They can ask you to think about it and to go to your money manager and ask that money. So I had this conversation with my aunt all the time. She talks to her
aunt, but you can't have that with your client.
My aunt talks to her financial advisor all the time.
Right.
So even me as her niece being a real estate broker, I can make all the suggestions in the world. She's still going to go over with her financial planner.
So I'm going to stick to exactly what I said.
Here.
If your realtor says that, I don't give a shit what realtor it is, they are not qualified to tell you that. Now, that's your aunt, so that's different.
I disagree.
And they can
with
explain it to you, and then they can talk to their accountant and their financial planner about that.
In most of our contracts, purchase and listing agreement, it tells people consult with your CPA, financial advisor, and attorney, right? I'm not saying that I'm going to say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this will beat the market. I'm not going to tell the seller.
Okay.
But what I'm going to tell the seller, look, you have an option to sell your home. Here are terms that people use. You have VA financing, FHA, conventional cash, land contract. How do you feel about these? Here's the pros and cons to FHA, pros and cons of VA, pros and cons of land contract. That's all I'm doing. If they ask for an amortization chart, I'm going to show them a couple websites. They can put the numbers in. If they say, hey, I was going to have $250,000 left over. I was just going to let it sit in the bank. But I can have $250,000 making me $4,000 a month to cover my expenses, and I'm going to make interest. They may choose that option.
Here's the issue.
Right.
They don't have that. That's why you were explaining it to them, because they're not
It's
financially...
more people that do it than you think.
Oh, no.
It's more people to do it.
It's more people that don't understand money. But look, in the world, I would say 98% of the people on the planet Earth, not just in this field, on planet Earth, don't understand money, and especially in this manner. This would be high level. Understanding of finances.
But would you be like saying what John Kashnowski came in here and told us doesn't exist.
No,
because he's basically saying the
but
same thing.
He in the 1%. How many people know what John Kashnowski? That's why when he's talking, he's talking in Spanish.
That he brought in.
Hold on. Let me say this. One thing we want to do on this show is get people to raise their level of understanding, right?
Agreed.
That's why I'm explaining it. Mm-hmm. You didn't think about it before, now you're thinking about it. Mm-hmm. When you read, Tony Robbins' Money Master the Game, he talk about private lending and seller financing, right? You take a house, you buy it, you sell it, you get 30, 40% down, charge interest, right? From an investor standpoint, and this is a good way to transition to that, for me, I would buy homes $9,000, right? Put $3,000 or $4,000 into it, sell it as is for $25,000. That's not a lot of money, right? So I got $12,000 into it. A buyer give me $4,000 or $5,000 down. Now I got $7,000 into it. But that $7,000 is making me $400 a month for 5 years. So I'm looking at it from cash flow, minimum investment, minimum risk. But when you multiply that times 10, now it starts to add up. Different cash flow versus buying a $170,000 house, right? I can do this 10 times and have $70,000 invested
100%.
And get $4,000 a month versus $800 a month, right? And then I don't have all the landlord-tenant issues. I don't have to worry about all the repairs. They pay it off. They just pay me. I just go to the P.O. box. I'm not saying this is always a better option. It's just an option.
Agreed.
So when people start thinking of different ways of making money or selling their house or buying their house, it's just an option.
So I'm glad you said that.
Right.
So I agree. It is an option.
Right.
Most of the time, I don't think that it's the best option.
It's not always the best option.
And that's what we talk about. So we're talking about awareness. We're talking about mindset. We're talking about people thinking, using your brain, right? So I want people to, I use this all the time. Whenever I'm talking to an individual, like when a person tells me that they're going to put 20% down on the house,
right? The
first thing I say is, all right, I go in and do what we just did. I show them how much money your mortgage is going to reduce by you putting that additional 16.5% down, right? And I say, all right, now if you take that, if you didn't put that money down, this is how much your payment is going to increase,
right?
So now that equal, we should do the math. Should we do the math on something?
No, we can. Okay. I know exactly where you're going.
Right.
Yep.
So then I say, so whatever. Let's say that the number is $20,000 cheaper, right?
Right.
I say, and off that $20,000, you're probably paying an additional I'm just gonna go high. It's not 4,000. I'm just gonna say 4,000 for the sake of saying it. It's like half of that probably. Right. I'm gonna say 4,000. I say, well, off that $20,000.
Right.
If you just lent it out $1,000 at a time, charging $500 back, or whatever you did, you figured a way to utilize your money smarter.
Exactly.
You're going to get that money back 10 times.
Right.
With less risk.
Right.
So why would I put
$20,000 down?
Yes. And it's the same situation in the sale.
I agree with you. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying it's an option.
No, but I'm not. You're not saying I'm wrong. And I'm not saying you're wrong. And I'm not saying anybody's wrong. I'm saying when we're talking about mindset, right, and when we're trying to inform the public on different strategies to use your money wiser, right. That's not a wise strategy.
So, but some people, it just depends on the person. So, because I explain people to say different, because he thinks about how to invest the money. I just sometimes will say, sometimes your money left liquid would be better for you potentially, if that's how you feel. But sometimes people feel like their money being liquid may not be best. So yeah, maybe having so you got to put down a significant amount of money in order to have a significant reduction in your payment. Right. So one of the things that when my daughter was here, that's what she kind of made the joke when she was like, you know, I'm a single mom with bad whatever she said. But in her situation, it was better that she took the bulk of that cash and put it into her house so that she could be stable over time.
Right.
If for Shaka, it probably wouldn't be a good idea.
Exactly.
Hold on.
That money different.
But we talked about mindset.
But we talk. That's a mindset.
It's not always mindset either. Sometimes it's where you are in life.
Yeah.
So maybe my mind wants to do better, but if my house is taken care of and most of that's paid down and I can support my monthly payment with my eyes closed.
Mindset.
Right. But it's not all. It's also skill set. So like when you talk, what we doing right now, I can guarantee you, we doing Dave Ramsey, Robert Kiyosaki. Right. It's the same thing. Right. Dave Ramsey gonna tell you always put 20% down, never buy a house you can't afford, and all of that, right?
I mean, well,
but you got to understand who his audience is. Most of his audience are people that have bad money management skills, and he's trying to get them to a place where they can maintain with the skill set that they have and get out of debt. Then you have other people that say, why would you tie all that money up into a house? Then you have people say, why would you even own a house? You should rent and then buy investment properties.
But you can show them. You can show why.
But what I'm saying
Some
is...
people just going to spend the money on shoes.
Yeah, there's different philosophies.
I'm just saying.
Mindset, yeah.
There's different philosophies for everybody. For me, personally, this made more sense when I buy and sell properties on land contract. I'm not doing $500,000 houses for one, but it made more sense to me buying a $20,000 or $30,000 rental property, right? Because I didn't want to deal with all the nuances of being a landlord, right? And in 29 years, only got one back. Paid $16 for it, sold it for $38. When she gave us the house back, it was worth $48.
How many years, Reg?
Huh?
How long?
29 years. Come February. So when she gave us the house back, it was worth $48,000.
Okay.
She had been there 2 years. You know what I'm saying? This was right when the market was jumping up. So what I'm saying is, I haven't. The way I go into it, I'm minimizing all my risks. I'm getting most of my money back up front.
You're talking about from the sellers, from your perspective as an investor.
Right.
Correct.
But we're talking to investors, sellers, and buyers. Because once you sell that home, even as an owner-occupant, you have to put on your investor cap too, because now you got this money, you got to put it somewhere where it's going to make the most money.
So they may not be a seller investor. They may just be someone that wants to do something good with their money other than have it sit in the bank.
Let me ask you this. How many of your sellers realize, hey, I bought this house for $125 in Oak Park. Now it's worth $180. And they start asking you about buying rental properties because they got some extra money.
It happens.
Right? Yeah. So what I'm saying is maybe they're really not cut out to be a landlord, but they want cash flow because everybody's not cut out to be a landlord.
Or maybe they're just not informed. They don't understand, and so that's when they need to go talk to their money manager. But everybody's not going to
go that far. They just got a simple solution. I got this money. If I can make $800 a month, I'm fine.
Okay.
Some people just want that.
Let's go back to our scenario.
Right.
So we're going to go back to our scenario because in our scenario, I don't think we can argue who this person is. This individual that is...
It's going to be different for everybody.
But
I'm telling you, I've done it with people.
But we're talking about the majority. So we're talking about the majority of these individuals playing with these numbers. All right. Not everybody. I understand some people, we got the Beverly Hillbillies. I understand it, right? They came into money. They didn't know about money, right?
Right.
But we're talking about the majority of these individuals.
I got the song stuck in my head.
Right. The majority of these people have some understanding of money. They are obviously not people who was spending their money on shoes, right? Otherwise, they probably wouldn't been in the situation that they are in right now.
They probably was.
No.
Wait, I missed
because you got some. Just because they spending that price point don't mean they got good management.
But we just said they got 200.
Wait, if you got two. Let me just pause there 1 second though. I'm coming from a mindset because when I started in real estate, interest rates was 8.5%. Right. So remember, the max you can charge is 11%.
Right.
So right now with rates 3-4%, the most I can probably sell a land contract interest rate and get terms for probably maybe 6% or something like that. But back then,
You need me to handle your contracts?
She said 8%.
well, it depends on, you got to think they're lower end properties, right? But what I'm saying
You need
is,
me to handle his projects.
but what I'm saying is, back then, everybody on land contract was getting 11%.
Agreed.
Right?
Yeah.
So if I'm an owner and I'm well-to-do, and the average market return is 10%, but I can get 11%. I'm not talking about people that can go out and invest or that want to or know how to go out and flip their money in real estate or whatever, or even trade stocks. They were just going to put their money in the market and let it sit and hope to get 10%. They probably was going to, but here they got 11% in writing, right? All I'm saying is some people took that option and it worked out for them, and it was to their benefit because that's where they were at.
I understand.
Now you may take that 250 and outperform that 2 or 3 times
By a lot. But
every
more than
year.
that, more than that.
Right?
You know what I mean?
But
Yeah.
everybody is not that.
I got you. But
Right.
we're talking about totally understand. So I hear you.
Okay.
So
All
I
right.
heard your part. I
All
hear
right.
your point, right? And I'm giving you that.
All right.
Everybody. So the point, the key word in what you're saying is everybody. So
Right.
we all learn not to say every and nothing. Right.
Right.
So
Right.
I get you. But we're talking about the majority, and we're talking about the mindset of the individual
Yeah.
that we're dealing with, not just the buyer, but also the seller in this situation.
Right.
Right. So I'm talking about that individual has. I feel like that individual, especially now. I feel like right now, we're at an all-time high. The reason we have so many entrepreneurs, new entrepreneurs,
Right.
is people starting to understand. They
Yeah.
waking up. They was fucking They was
the Matrix.
Yeah,
They
you know
woke
what I'm
now.
saying?
They woke now.
Now
Right.
they may
unplugged.
not be advanced level,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? But they starting to get it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
bruh, what the hell was I doing all this time?
Yeah.
What was my mom and daddy doing?
Right,
They
'cause
know what-
information
it's
travels quicker now,
Yeah.
right.
So now we talking about these people understanding the money better.
Right.
The majority of people are not going to take that 250 and then give me $40,000, which is $8,000 a year over
But-
the next 5 years,
but
as opposed to taking their 250, their additional 250.
But there's still
Look, he just
people.
need one
investing
for
in-
that buyer he got.
Right. What I'm saying
Well, I'm gonna have
is
99. So we got 100 people. 99 people gonna go with me. I don't even think he's gonna get
No,
one.
I said you need just one
Oh,
seller
man.
to make that want to do that.
So, but see, here's the thing too. When we talk about selling from an investor standpoint, let's say I buy a house for 50. I was gonna fix it up, put 50 into it, and sell it for 150. Right? I buy that same house for 50. I put 30 into it, and I get it livable. I don't do all the extras. I can sell it for 160 on land contract, get a down payment, get monthly payments on it, have income coming in, and my capital gains is different because I'm not getting all my money up front.
Well, that's what I was
Now
about
I'm
to say.
saving
It is no capital. That's the other part that you
Yeah, 'cause
missed.
it's-
There is no capital
Yeah,
gains on your
because
500,000.
Right, because it's spread out. Well, I'm talking about from an investor fix and flip.
Oh, okay.
Because
Right.
now it's spread
Well,
out
you
in
changing the
installments.
scenario, though.
No, I'm just giving different scenarios
okay,
from the
okay.
seller side.
All right.
So what I'm saying is you're right, right? But I'm also right.
Right. I agree.
Because
I digress.
it depends on the individual. What I'm saying is when someone has $250,000 in their hand or opportunity, I guarantee, man, I'm telling you, I deal with so many sellers. They don't know what to do with the money.
I get it. I see it all
The
the time.
best thing they can do with the money is protect themselves from it. Right?
True.
So what I'm saying is they can put it in the bank and get 0.0 something, or they can put it in the market. If they know what to do in the market and where to buy it, right now everybody's gonna buy the same stocks they heard on Instagram. Or they have this option where they can put in writing what the interest rate is going to be. Now they're taking a risk because the market can go soft.
There it is.
But the stock market can also drop.
Right.
I understand what you said.
So-
Like money spends quick, and I just think that when people get large checks, you know, 20,000, 60,000, 200,000, I don't care what the 1,000 is. It spends quickly once you put it in your bank account because you got all these things you
Facts.
want to do.
I mean, we just saw
all
that
I'm
with all the
saying is-
PPP
all I'm-
loans and
yeah.
everything. We know that. We understand. I totally agree. But the money is different. So it's just like what he said. The mindset is different. The mindset of the individual buying the house with 0% down, as opposed to the individual that put 20% down, is different.
Oh, yeah.
The mindset of the individual that
hold
got PPP loan for free, that you didn't, somebody just gave you some money, is different than the individual who did everything to get their credit right, so that they can purchase that house, and now that house they're able to realize the equity in their house. For the first time, the mindset is different. So I think y'all, hold on. I think y'all shortchanging the majority of people because what y'all saying.
We're not.
But no, because what y'all saying.
Because that's what you are.
But let me finish what I'm saying. You can't. Let me hear what I'm saying. You're shortchanging them. You said this several times. You said y'all saying that basically what y'all saying is people they can't save themselves from themselves. You saying they can't, they get money in their pocket, they get money, they ain't used to it, so now they gonna go splurge. And I'm saying, all right, that may have you said that. You said
but
that.
you said it too. You said majority of the people don't know what to do with money.
They do. Hold on, I said the majority of the people don't understand money.
Same
so,
thing.
No, different. Doesn't mean, hold on, I'll tell y'all the difference. The difference
Hey, I can't wait till people watch
it takes
the video.
savvy people.
No.
Right.
It don't take, so it take you to know a savvy person. You may not.
No,
so
I said, that's what you said.
It does. It takes an individual to believe in what they doing. So two different things. Y'all just said two different things. We're talking about the savvy. I didn't say that everybody is savvy. I'm saying that the individual, they know there's information out there now,
right,
where they're not necessarily going to go take their additional $250,000,
right,
and go buy gym shoes with it. You know what I'm saying? That's not necessarily true. Reggie just said that most likely they're going to do what? Go put it in some type of mutual fund.
No, savings. No, you said most likely they're going to put it in a savings account and earns less than what you could do if.
No, he said in a mutual fund.
All right,
a mutual fund is less.
So let's say this, right?
The 11% he talked about.
Let's say this.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
I got two things to add. Mm-hmm. I sell the house $500,000. I get $250 down, right? And I got $250 cash, right? I got $4,000 coming in. I got $250 cash. I was gonna go buy another house.
Hold on, I missed everything you said. Say that again.
All right, same scenario.
Right.
$500,000 house. Somebody give me 50% down, $250.
Gotcha.
Right, so that takes care of my mortgage balance. I got $250 equity, right? But it's not coming to me in this lump sum. It's coming to me in monthly payments.
Gotcha.
Right. I go out. I put the money. Whatever's coming in is covering my monthly expenses. Right. If I didn't have any plans with that money anyway, if I was just gonna park it, that might be good to me. But the part that I didn't mention, I wanted to make sure I covered is. The seller can sell their interest in the land contract, just like the mortgage company. So I can say, hey, Mr. Investor, you looking for cash flow? Here's a cash flow opportunity. They owe me $250. With interest, you're gonna make an additional $30,000 on this, right? You could sell that interest and negotiate that price up or down and get your lump sum money. So one of the benefits, so none of my land contracts, if I buy a house, one of the, $20,000, $30,000 homes, and the market area, the values in the area 50 or whatever, it's always a premium price for that property because it's a land contract. One
of the benefits of being a seller, one of the pros of being a seller, you're going to sell it typically for more than I may
hold that contract for a year. It's performing. I see that they got a good payment history. I can go out and say, hey, instead of you buying a rental property, here's an opportunity. Buy me out at this price. I'm still making a profit, and I assign my interest to you.
But those land contracts also sell in the same markets as mortgages sell there.
Exactly.
So here's my problem with that. Now y'all saying that they making less than the $40,000 that we talk about. Because you got to take less.
Not all the time.
You're not getting more.
Man, you're not getting more. Man.
I want y'all to explain. Okay, give me the scenario.
Man.
Well, give me the scenario. How you give me one scenario how you make
it. If somebody is making an extra, let's say the rate is 8%, right? Somebody will pay you more than the balance owed because they're making that extra interest. They're paying you because they have potential income. They're taking a risk. Right, but they know worst case scenario, they're getting their initial investment back. basically what they're buying from you is the interest that would be earned.
Yeah, it's basically what we talk about. A
But they
person
gonna pay you
closes on a
more?
house.
They gonna pay you more than they gonna...
A
depends.
person closes on a house and buys a house for $250,000, and the mortgage company sells that loan to another
Mortgage company. They do it all the time.
Hold on, but not for... Hold on, listen to what y'all... So this is what
Oh, my God.
Reggie just said this. You said that we use 6% on our scenario,
All
but
right.
we said...
Wait, let me give you this. If you are a bank, right? You're a bank.
Yes.
Jaja's a bank. She got a $250,000 balance with a 6% interest rate, and it's 27 years left on his mortgage, right? That 250 is probably gonna be. I'm just gonna pull a number out. 380, right? And the balance is 250. How much are you gonna get her? So, and you got potential to make 410 total.
In how long?
It's 27 years left.
Yeah, get out of here.
How much are you gonna give her? No, wait. What I'm saying is, how much you gonna give her?
I understand what you're saying.
No,
you're saying
I'm
you can give her
asking
more. I don't know how much. But
how
I
much
give her
would you-
anything. You got a wide range. You said between 250 and 380. I got $130,000 range.
Right.
That
How
I
much
could
would you give her? Just tell me.
Depends on how long it's gonna take me to make the money.
It's 27 years left.
No, I'm not doing it. Me
No,
personally,
banks
I'm
do
not
it all
doing
the time.
Yeah, because banks is using somebody else's money. We not. So although, don't get it twisted, y'all. So we
Right.
said y'all could be the bank. But in real life, y'all not the bank because the bank using your
sell
money,
it.
somebody else's money, and they selling it. You
God.
not.
So
That's your money.
I just threw it out there. So there's
that's-
two.
that's- you know
Wait,
what I'm saying? Like-
there's two things, right? So, and I'm saying this from experience.
Me too.
There was back when I first started, it was a company called Land Contract Equities, right? You get a house. They would buy the contract at closing.
Yeah.
So I get a house, maybe the seller wanted 40 for it, but we would do the land contract at 50 because it's a land contract. You can negotiate the price or whatever the case may be. The buyer was happy to have it because it was a land contract. The seller was happy to have it. And the seller would say, a lot of times seller come and say, I really don't want to sell on land contract, but I just want 40,000, right? Now, in this scenario, the person would pay less, right? I'm giving you both scenarios. So it's 50,000. Land contract equities to come in and say, I'm going to pay 40,000 for the house, but I need to see, they would order an appraisal, right? Because they wanted to make sure of value. Seller would get their 40,000. Land contract equities is their sales price is 50 because the buyer's paying 50 minus their down payment. What they were really buying was the interest earned, right? Plus they got some cushion in there because the initial sales price is 50 minus. So they came in with some equity in case the buyer defaulted. They had enough room in there to recover, right? And you're not always going to see the interest earned because the buyer defaulted. But if the buyer did default, they get to take the house back and just resell it. Their land contract company, guess what they do? They sold it again for land contract. They may have did that 2 or 3 times on the same house.
That's what led to lease options.
But wait a minute. So then you had other little mom and pop companies that came up. They said, oh, well, if they're doing that, we'll just, if the interest rate is this, we'll pay a little bit more as long as the buyer meet this criteria, right? Because that's why you have conforming, non-conforming loans. And when people are buying notes, yeah, of course, most people want a discount. They're buying these notes. That's why when people buy notes and the banks sell notes, they sell performing and non-performing notes. So you had other companies that would come in and say, okay, $50,000 contract, $40,000 mortgage. We'll give you $43,000, right, for this contract, right? Because the person owes 50 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? The purchase price was 50. So they're basing it instead of 40. It's a little bit of extra money for the seller because they're counting on making this interest, whatever that calculated to. So what I'm saying is, and those are small numbers, but they were doing it on a larger scale. So instead of the interest that they earn being $3,000 or $4,000 on a $40,000 home. The interest may have been $20,000 or $30,000 over a short period of time with a 4 or 5 year balloon payment, right? So they were putting themselves in a position to win. They were putting a little bit more up front, but it's still, to them, it made sense. So what I'm saying is, you have some buyers that would discount that balance. You have some that would pay more depending on the terms.
I want to know.
So
did you get a scenario where they pay more?
Yeah, I just told you they would pay the 43, where the other company
but it's
would
still
just
not over 50.
no 50. So the seller
50 is
wanted
the number.
you the seller, right? You want to sell your house for $40,000.
Oh, I thought you said 50. Oh, but
Wait,
it's
no,
worth 50.
wait. You want to sell your house for $40,000, right? I'm the buyout company. I say, okay, I'll come to you and buy it at 35, right? You say, no, I want it 40. So you would say, well, I'm gonna sell it. The land contract is for 50. I found somebody to buy it for more than what I wanted, right?
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
I come in and say, now that you sold it for 50, I'll buy it from you for 40.
Yeah, right. But you're not. Your scenario is not working because it has to be over 50.
Oh God!
It doesn't have to be over. It doesn't have to be over 50 because when you do a land contract, you charge more for that risk. When you only marketed the house at 40,000, you said you wanted 40,000, but if you held a land contract,
I paid you 40 for a $50,000 contract.
So here it is. This is where y'all are mixing. That's why y'all mixing up.
I'm just giving you an example.
What he's saying.
I'm giving you a real example.
But that's not. He changed this. So
no, I gave you several different scenarios.
All right.
Okay.
But so y'all changed it. So
I didn't change it.
But you did.
I'm not part of it.
Okay. But then you don't. Hold on. But listen, because no, we got to get to because people need to understand this. This is a real thing, right? So what Reggie is saying. So I'm relating this because I thought you was relating this back to the 500,000 and
we could do it at 500. I was just giving you examples.
Well, I want to use that same scenario.
Okay.
Right. So everybody is apples to apples.
Can I before you go? Because you gotta have numbers. So the $500,000 house would now have to be like 520.
No, it's 540. That's what. Listen to this.
Yeah,
he already said it.
I was giving you two examples where somebody. What I was doing, hold up. What I was doing is I was giving you two examples where somebody would pay less and somebody would pay more.
Well, we're going to use the 540, and you're going to give me that same situation. So,
all right.
At the five, so he said that we started off with the individual selling their house.
Yep.
For a land contract, $250 down. 250 finance and with 8% or 6% interest.
6%
that interest being $40,000 in interest over the next 5 years.
Right.
That's the scenario.
Right.
Right. So in that scenario, you tell me where the person who is buying that loan for over $540,000.
No, that buyer in that scenario would probably do a discount on the 250.
That's what I said.
They probably would say, hey, look, I'll give you 230. Right? The balance 250. I'm coming in here with 20 equity plus the interest I can make.
So you sold it for less.
Right. You sold it for less. That makes sense. So, but there are scenarios where the interest rate and the balance due is higher, so the person would pay you higher than you initially wanted.
So in that scenario we just gave.
So in that scenario, let's say the house was $500,000. Same thing. The original price you wanted was $500,000, right? I come in, I say the most I'm gonna give you for this balance is $230,000. Your balance is $250,000, right? I need to come in with some equity. But then there's a scenario where you say, okay, I got a buyer that'll buy it for $580,000 or $550,000, right? And the interest rate is not this low, it's higher. So now you're shopping this around, not to just me. I'm a discount note buyer. You may have somebody to come and say, okay, you got these terms. I'll give you $260,000 for it. Because of the balance. Right, but what I'm saying, because of the balance due and the interest I get to earn on it outweighs what I'm paying you.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. It's different note buyers out there in these scenarios.
So, bruh, y'all just really mucked it up, right? So listen,
I didn't muck it up.
No, listen, because what we saying, this is.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I've barely been able to talk in this conversation, so y'all nothing. But yes, I understand what you're saying.
But what I'm saying is,
I want to understand.
You're saying, all right, not everybody is discounting that balance because it really depends on the terms of the contract.
Understood. But so why didn't the person take the 5 up front instead of taking the discount later on down the line? Why didn't you get your 5?
It depends on the individual.
But why would you? Yeah, I need to hear the scenario, the one scenario in which you would do that. So now remember what we talked about, because I don't want to keep going over other scenarios because it's changing, right? I want to stick with apples to apples.
So you got a seller, right? And so we have to look at it a couple ways. In this market, it's not as likely to happen because a $500,000 home, a good condition $500,000 home is probably going to sell
at $500,000.
If I got
the land contract,
if I got a $500,000 home and I want to sell it and it's shabby, it need all new windows, $40,000 worth of windows, right? And I don't want to invest that money, but I still want $500,000. This person gonna give me $250 down, still pay me $500,000, and I'm open to a land contract. I may take that option.
Got you.
It needs windows. It needs some. My house don't compete with the other $500,000 homes unless I put another 60 or 70
I hear you, but Reg, you change the scenario again.
No, I'm not. I'm changing scenarios because these are real life scenarios.
But listen, we can't change.
Your person, that scenario in today's market probably wouldn't use land contract as an option.
That's all I was saying.
But I'm saying that person in today's market that been there, that never made any updates, the house need windows, the roof is old, it won't pass FHA.
There is a scenario in which that person would take less, but the scenario ain't the one that we originally talked about.
But if there are scenarios where people say, I can get this if I sell it on land contract versus me putting this type of money into it to get it, right? So what I'm saying is, land contract is just another option if the other options don't work for you. But I'm also saying there are people that buy notes at a discount based on the terms. There are people that pay a little bit more than the balance based on the terms because they're banking on the future interest that's coming in. If the interest only $30,000 or $40,000, that's probably not going to happen. They're going to pay you more.
That's all we were talking about.
If the interest is $180,000, $200,000 more,
different scenario.
Exactly. That's all I'm saying. As the seller, you're in a situation that let's say you got a land contract with 8% interest, and at the time, and this happened a lot with your mortgages, you got an 8% interest rate on a mortgage or a land contract, right? All of a sudden, a year or two go by, now mortgage rates 3%. How attractive is that 8% loan on the market to note buyers?
Very attractive.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because now, do I go and loan you money at 3%, or do I buy this loan from you and I can make 8% on the same amount of money invested?
So Reg, we can make 1,000 scenarios where it makes sense.
And
but in the scenario that we talked about, it did not make sense.
But this whole show is about all the scenarios because we're talking about the majority of people not understanding what the minority of people know.
Agreed.
And that's all I'm doing is putting it out there. So when somebody say, I'm in this land contract and I don't want it no more, I can't wait on the money, I need to get out. As the seller, there are people that will buy you out. Agreed. If you're a buyer and you in a land contract and you can't afford the home no more, you simply just sell it.
You had that option.
Right.
But I just want, we got to go back to our scenario because this is what we're doing.
Right.
So even me being, I feel like I'm advanced, right?
Yep.
And a lot of the shit you just was saying, I had to damn, hold on, it's another one. Oh no, he switched to a different one. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So I want to stick with the original scenario. The original scenario was a house on the MLS for $100,000. For $500,000.
Yep.
And the options were, sell it on land contract for $540,
Just say the 500. Don't even
for $500
change it. Yep,
with 6% interest, $250 down, $250,000 down,
Right.
And then the second option was sell it for $500,000 outright,
right.
And that's the only scenario that I think we should be dealing with. So you tell me in that scenario where somebody is going to buy that house anybody buying that note for more than $540.
Oh, nobody's buying it for more because in this scenario it doesn't make sense at 6% interest.
But you said that. So you tell me. You said that you saw that it could. So tell me. I want to hear.
I was saying
I was commenting on several different things. So one of the things that I highlighted was, so Reggie said there might be a seller who so his original statement was, this person could be an elderly person. They could be ready to downsize. They may not be doing any further investing with their money. And so they don't have anything that they necessarily have to do. And in that scenario, that person might consider a land contract because of the interest that the money could earn.
Mm-hmm. The same. So that's my point. You know what else? Who else would consider that?
What I was commenting
if that
on.
person that was selling their house had $2 million in the bank. Yeah, they might consider it too, right? We can make
that.
But that was the original conversation.
But my point is, we can make we know. So we're talking about the typical.
But you keep saying the typical, but then you going back to the savvy people.
No, but this is typical. But we always talked about typical. We always talk about the typical majority of the people. The majority of the people, right?
Right.
And the savvy, who would be in there, right?
Right.
I don't see. So that these scenarios that y'all bringing out,
right,
is gonna be like less than the one. They like they the billionaires. You know what I'm saying? Like the people that I don't know what the percentage of billionaires in the world is, but that's the people y'all bringing out. And yes, if you want to say that, we can find that. Can you find a needle in a haystack? Hell yeah, but the likelihood of it is unlikely.
Yeah, I don't think that that's what's being said. I think that we were talking about land contracts. I think that you guys created a scenario, and I think that I brought up, made poke fun at some people that you're dealing with right now. And I said, for me personally, I just don't think people are willing to do those land contracts. Then Reggie made a point about interest and being able to present people those options. And then you said, no, that would be a person like me or like Reggie. They would have to be savvy on both sides. No. And all I said was, no, you would just have to explain it, and then it would be up to that person to say, yeah, this is a good scenario for me or a bad scenario for me.
That's all it is. Here, I'm gonna be transparent. When I sell my house, land contract gonna be an option. I'm looking to buy a house now. Land contract gonna be an option.
For sure.
I owe little to nothing on my house. Somebody can give me enough down to pay off my balance. The reason I would do it, now, true enough, now I said an option. So if somebody buy my house, FHA, conventional, I got all my money up front, like you said. I know what to do with that money to make more money. But I don't need the money to buy another house. I don't need to put more money in the market. You know what I'm saying? This would be, okay, I got money in the market. I got some rental property, some investments. I got other real estate. So this one particular property, instead of me keeping it and renting it out, I just get to have cash flow. And I wasn't doing nothing with that. You know what I'm saying? I was just going to sell it, and that's just money there.
Now, you're you're the person that he's saying you are.
But what we're doing is educating people to that level. So let's say I sell my house, right? And a year from now, I'm like, man, I really can use an extra $150,000, right? And I'm charging 6% interest. And I go to somebody and be like, okay, these people owe me $170, but I need this $150 right now because I got other investments to make. That's going to really make me more than an extra $20. I could sell it at that time, but what I'm saying for me,
at a discount, you're saying,
is for me to diversify. I don't necessarily need to put that money anywhere else. So if I can make 6% on something I already owned, I'm not going into it as an investment right now. It's just already there. It's an asset already owned. I turn it into 6% plus cash flow, and I'm gonna sit there and I might make 30 or 40,000 interest over the next several years. I'm just gonna do it because I already got money in the market. I got money already spread out. For me, that scenario works.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Ain't
But
no
you're
way
saying
in
for you,
hell
he's
Reggie
gonna
doing
say
that.
he would do that.
No,
because
he
that's
would
what
not.
he
But
is.
listen,
You would not do that.
I'm leaving-
because
He
would
you
not
feel
do
like
it
your
either.
money earned
Oh,
more.
I've done it.
Hold on, let's
Constantly.
ask
When I
Reggie
was-
this scenario right now.
Yeah.
Hold on,
Oh,
wait.
God.
Hold on, let's go back. So
Oh,
Reggie,
God.
you got a house that's worth $500,000,
Right.
free and clear.
Well, my house ain't worth
No,
$500,
I'm just
but-
gonna use it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, no, you got a house that's worth $500,000, you owe $250 on it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
You have the option of selling your house for $500,000 on a
Right.
conventional loan right now.
Right.
And then you have that's option A. Option
Right.
B is sell it on land contract for $250 down, 6% interest,
Right.
amortized over 5 years. Which option are you doing? So we can tell you right now, amortized over that 5 years, you're going to earn $40,000 in interest.
First of all, I would extend that out to 10 years or more.
So
'cause
you would not do it.
I want more.
Hold on, we just gave you the basic scenario.
Right now in the situation I'm in, I would absolutely do it.
You would do what?
I would do the land contract.
Boy,
Cause I don't need the money.
Because some people base their money based on their annual, what they're trying to earn annually.
Yeah, so Reggie,
you
but
said
$250,000.
$40,000 over the next 5 years.
listen.
He may break that $40,000 and feel like
I don't care how he break it. This is how I can do it with Reggie. This is how I know Reggie wouldn't do it. Reggie, if you had $250,000 liquid cash right now,
right.
January 1st.
We talking about my primary residence.
I got you. I hear you.
I'm selling just so I can move somewhere
hear
else.
you.
You gonna give me $4,000 a month plus interest.
I don't
That's
care.
gonna pay for my new
But
house.
you still only
plus
made
interest,
$40,000
and I got-
on the
but
money.
What I'm saying is, I got all my other stuff doing.
I don't care. Come on, Reg. I don't feel like I don't believe him.
But what's the
What
debate
you gonna
though?
do? What you gonna-
but because I want to know what the debate is, because we're talking about land contracts. We're talking about different ways that people can decide to invest their money depending on who they are. It's like what he said. We're talking about Robert Kiyosaki or the other guy.
And Dan Ramsey.
See here,
so
let me-
he ain't Dan Ramsey.
Let me wait. Hold
But
on.
I'm
Let
just
me
saying,
let
but
me
we're
say
talking
this.
to an audience.
Let me say
Yeah,
this
but
too.
we're talking about Reg.
Right, but let me
specific.
say this, right? Because it's other factors in my family dynamics to why I would do that, right? My wife can probably more than likely 90% manage any investment properties we got, right? Probably the stocks would just sit there, probably pull the money out or whatever. My daughter can't do any of that. But if I sell this house on land contract and that $250 is coming in, that $4,000 a month, 6% interest, anybody in my family can manage that because they just go into the P.O. box.
Not necessarily. If there's a situation where you
But
got to foreclose on that
It's
property,
the same, but it's the same.
then
If
now
it's a
it ain't got
but
working.
I got all type of paperwork to
That's
cover
great,
that.
but they
All my
still gotta
stuff is
deal
in
with it.
order. What I'm saying is, I don't need all my money tied up into the stuff that I'm currently doing. That's why that scenario would make sense for me personally.
I don't
right?
agree. I don't believe Reggie on this.
Because
what Jay-Z said. I
Look
don't
here,
believe we need more people.
I'm getting ready to wrap this show up, so y'all y'all got 10, 9.
Hold on. Let me say
Who
the
got
last thing.
pen?
I got one last thing to say. This is why I don't believe it.
Hey.
Yep.
Hold on. Stop. Listen. I can ask Reggie this question.
Right.
Reggie, if you had $250,000 cash today,
Right.
how much money would you have by January 7th, 2023, off of that $250,000?
I probably would have somewhere between 700 and 800,000.
But he told us that he gonna do it for 40 over the next 5 years.
But wait, I'm probably gonna have that anyway based on the other stuff. But what I'm saying is that money wasn't money. It wasn't like earned money, in other words. That was just a house I stayed in, and it just accumulated equity, right?
I got you.
So what I'm saying is, now if I was in the middle of, like, I seen an opportunity, like an apartment building or something like that, and I needed $200,000 extra as a down payment on that apartment building, yeah, I'm not gonna use that option. But I'm saying right now, at this current moment, I don't have anything that will require me to need that money right now. And I got other financing options available to go in on any opportunity that comes my way.
However, ain't
Right.
no way in hell that I'm going to go take $40,000 over 5 years.
Man,
Even if I just doubled it. That's 500.
I'm having this debate right now.
Ding, ding, ding. thing?
Go ahead. All right.
This episode has run out of its time. I'm calling it a wrap.
All right.